Hello everyone, my name is PolishLynx and welcome to another episode of Depression Quest. Our guy Matt was on a meeting with well, he actually not met. He hung out with some old friend. I really hoped he will tell about his problem her, but it didn't happen. After that, Will and the dentist, he got a mouth guard, or however you call that, and he had a bad feelings about that, which is weird. You really shouldn't. Well, maybe it's not weird when you are depressed, but I don't know, but you shouldn't have feelings like that about the thing you wear at night and actually no one sees you. And right now we have an appointment with our brother, 2 years older brother, who is achieving some great things day after day. The dentist, but let's begin with the story. The dentist said I'm apparently grinding my teeth too much when I sleep. Oh, Malcolm Rice. Been stressed out lately, kiddo? Oh man, that's not the way. You should answer. Deciding that you don't really want to go into it, you tell him that you don't think that's the case, and it's probably just a random thing. He doesn't pry further, and instead begins reminiscing with you about the time you chipped a baby tooth because he accidentally knocked you over once. Oh. You go out for dinner and catch up on things, but you still feel somewhat distracted by the gnawing anxiety in the back of your mind. Though you enjoy your brother's company, you still feel like you want nothing more than to go home and hide from the world tonight. It becomes hard for you to try to stuff all of your horrible feelings down and go emotionless when someone like the dentist can see a fraction of what goes on inside your head. It leaves you feeling embarrassed and weak, and you hate yourself for feeling that way. You wonder if you're really fooling anyone into thinking you're a normal person, and then you wonder if your brother knows and is hanging out with you out of a pity tonight. After he drops you back off at your opponent, you throw the night guard out. You can't stand to even look at that thing. Oh man, he's getting worse, that bad. It is early on a Wednesday morning. Lately you've developed a nasty habit of waking up 10-20 minutes before your alarm rings, and unfortunately today is no exception. You lie in bed each minute, ticking closer and closer to wake up time, and pacing on a swinging wave of ever encroaching dread. Sooner than you would like, your alarm blares with caustic inevitability. You frantically pound the snooze button and then retreat under your blankets, as if the warmth of your comforter can shield you from the passage of time. You almost always have difficulty rising from bed, but today that simple task seems nothing short of Herculean. After several snooze cycles, you decide that you just can't deal with your work today. You're incapable of even rousing yourself from bed, let alone going into work and having to force yourself through a workday. Not to mention you've snoozed so many times that it will be impossible to make it on time. Now, anyways, what do you do? Oh man, so we have no choice here. So we are calling boss, telling him we're sick and we won't be in the job. No choice. In spite of the fact that you know that it's your job and that you should go, you keep fighting yourself every step of the way. Every time you resolve to climb out of bed and just go, Your body seems to get heavier and your head gets foggier, and you find yourself unable to actually make yourself move. You grab your phone and dial your boss number, hoping that it's early enough yet that he won't be there and you can just leave a message. Fortunately, after a couple of rings, voicemails picks up and you leave a message explaining that you are sick and won't be in today. As you hang up the phone, you worry that perhaps your message sounds like a lame excuse. You hope your boss won't call or email you to follow up with your message, but for now you are too foggy to do too much of any sort of thinking, and eventually fall back into a sleep that is both heavy and restless, with your kitten curled up at your feet, occasionally repositioning as you toss and turn. When you wake up the next morning, short of feeling well rested, you actually feel more stressed out. While it was definitely nice to get a break from work, you're now faced with a new problem you hadn't considered before. You still have to go to work today. While you aren't having the same problems physically getting out of bed you were having yesterday, the prospect of having to face your boss after missing a day of work does not seem appealing in the slightest. You worry that your absence won't be seen as believable or legitimate, that your coworkers and boss will think you were just trying to half-assedly play hooky. Or worse, you fear that someone will actually ask you what's wrong, being caught in that instance and having to either make up a half-baked excuse or worse, that they will see right through you and know quickly as you're not matching the drizzly weather outside. You know that you have to go into work, but your fear of being perceived as either lazy or defective is making you regret yesterday's decision to take the day off, and ultimately you feel worse for it. Great. I had no choice. What can you do? It's 2 AM on Sunday and you have work in the morning. You roll over to see the sickly green glow of the time displayed on your LED alarm clock and let out an exasperate sigh. You've been trying to fall asleep for over 3 hours now, to no avail. Every time your head hits the pillow, you're overcome with anxious thoughts that wrap themselves around each other. Worries about your job lead to worries about your future, lead to worries about your very identity, and you're unable to shake them off long enough to doze off. Your eyes won't even stay shut as your mind races through imagined scenarios horribly wrong, which you promptly attribute to your general worthlessness. Your thoughts run too fast for you to come to a satisfying conclusion on any one of them. Your room is completely silent, but the silence has given way to a loud static noise rattling around inside your head. Your heart beats loudly and you worry it's beating a little too fast. You worry that if you focus too strongly on your racing heart, you'll freak yourself out hard enough that you have a heart attack. You have to be awake for work in a mere 8 hours, and you know your performance has been sagged lately, and that this won't help the situation one bit. Just close your eyes. Well, again, we have 6 options and only one of them is allowed for us. Go to computer. Sleep is clearly not happening no matter how long you lie here. That's bad. You get out of bed and head to your desk. Lying in bed with nothing but your thoughts to keep you company makes you feel like you're going insane. The harshness of the light coming from the screen makes you squint as you turn it on, despite how often you find yourself in this exact situation. There have been so many nights lately just like this. As you begin reading a new story, an online friend of yours IMS you. Attick, you're up late again, I see. Yeah, I can't sleep. Again. Thinking too much again. Thinking. You guessed it. Wanna talk about it? Maybe finally someone. You end up talking with Attick for quite some time about how you've been feeling. It's always been easy to talk about personal matters, and the added security of floating online helps. Being able to rethink what you say as you type it out and check it before you send it out helps you gather your thoughts, and you find it less intimidating in a way to type it all into a prompt and say it out loud. Attick, I don't wanna be that guy who thinks they can diagnose something because I read a Wikipedia article, but it kinda sounds like you might have depression. You should talk to someone about that, like a doctor. You pause. You're not sure if it's how tired you feel or being frustrated from mentally eating away at yourself earlier in the night, but what he says rings true. Maybe you should see a doctor about this. We can do some research and see if there's a good doctor near you. It's not like you're going back to sleep anytime soon anyway. Might as well do something while you're awake. Thank you for not allowing me to choose the first option. That's a very good thing, you know. That's okay. Yes, I go with this one, and that's the best option. Okay, let's find you a doctor then. Just remember, there's nothing wrong with having depression. You wouldn't be ashamed to have bronchitis. I have no idea what bronchitis is. I will have to Google it or something. So there is no reason to be ashamed if it's your brain that's sick instead. You Google around with Attick, and after a bit of searching you find a doctor who has gotten really good reviews. You make a note of it and tell Attick you plan on calling her in the morning before work. You end up going to bed after that with a slight sense of accomplishment. Your kitten pats over and curls up at your feet. With the thought of maybe feeling better soon on your mind, you try not to get your hopes up as you drift to sleep. Next. You grudgingly grab your morning coffee and scoot your rapidly growing kitten off your office chair, and despite her protests, as usual, sit down at your desk to check your mail. You notice the note you left yourself a few days ago with the therapist's number on it. You've been somewhat putting off calling her purely out of nervousness, but you feel like you should probably make the decision to do it or throw the note and stop stressing yourself about it. Your kitten curls up in not asking us for. What? Come on. I want to call. Dang. I hope Attick will write to him to ask about that, because dang, why? You stare at the note for a long while before crumpling it in your hand and throwing it out. Therapy is for people with real problems, not winners like me, you tell yourself. Even if you did think you were worth of the resources, you don't know if you could actually bring yourself to dial the number and say the words out loud. Somehow that would make what you're feeling seem that much real. If you don't call, some part of you feels like it makes it that much easier to pretend it all isn't happening. Maybe that's for the best, you think. If you can just shove it all down and try to ignore it, you can struggle through the day and hopefully someday just get over it. Opening us up is painful, and you're not sure if dredging all of this savage out of your mind will even have a positive effect on you. The therapist would probably laugh at you anyway. Come on, he wouldn't laugh. He's a therapist. He deals with problems like that. It's a chilly Thursday night, and you've just gotten off work. This has felt like one of the longest days you faced in recent memory. Even though nothing exceptional had happened, a ton of minor things kept going wrong, and coworkers had tried your patience throughout the day. You considered leaving work early, but you've already had enough absences lately on the days you feel too crushed by the job to get out of bed and didn't want to risk it. You're lost in thought on the commute home, and your feelings of frustration, both with your life and the world around, you build as run into minor annoyances. Like someone bunking into you really hard as they walk by. By the time you get home, you're exhausted, and in a moment of metacognition, realize that if you don't snap out of it, you're probably in for a long and trying night as well. These pent-up feelings aren't dying down and are eating at you. You open your front door and stare at your apartment, and an overwhelming feeling of exhaustion overcomes you, and you feel like your energy levels are low enough that you likely settle into a single activity tonight. What do you do? Don't burn more. Again, no choice. I will go with the second one, actually, if I had such a option, but we have to go with the third one again. So I will go with that and end this part. I don't know how to go in. It really shows how depression can get into someone, and really, if you notice something like that, you just have to help. Okay guys, I guess this is a bye for now, and I see you in the next part. Bye.